Hello, myself Dr. P.K. Verma, all the students of biology and my teacher colleagues are most welcome. In the previous two classes of biotechnology, I had introduced the subject, mentioned named and properties of a number of enzymes and the mechanical tools such as ultracentrifugation, density gradient centrifugation, electrophoresis were discussed. In the last class, I had also discussed role of restriction endonuclease enzyme. Now with the help of all these technical details, we shall discuss in this session the methodology of isolation of DNA from a source and the separation of gene from that DNA. So the major title of the today's topic is isolation of DNA or a gene. Before planning the project, you have to know the problem. You have many commercial species of plants, or there are many pet animals. Even there are human subjects in which there may be some inferior characters or defective characters. So you have to know which character is to be improved. By getting information about various species and varieties of the plants and animals, you can select the source in which the desired character or the gene is found. For example, at Bhagalpur there is a Katarni rice, a local variety. It has very sweet taste and very good smell, but its size is small. The world famous Basmati has very long grains, but its smell is not powerful. Taste is slightly rough. So to replace the gene of seed or the fruit length, we have to know location of the gene in its chromosome. To correct the human disease, we have to know the wrong gene or various human chromosomes. Only then we can attempt to replace it with the healthy gene or simply insert a healthy gene. Likewise, for synthesis of a human chromosome, human hormone such as insulin, growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, prolactin, interferon, etc., or an enzymes, we have to know where these genes are found, on which chromosome these are present. Fortunately, we have a rigorous list of human genes with courtesy of Dr. J.C. Venter and others who performed the Human Genome Project. Now, how the DNA is isolated from the source. If the source is a eukaryote, it must have a number of chromosomes. These eukaryotic chromosomes vary in their length, and these are arranged in descending order of length and number. The longer chromosomes have longer or larger DNA. Smaller chromosomes have shorter DNA. So DNA also have various molecular weights according to the size of the chromosome. By genetic experiments, various linkage groups and locations of genes on chromosome is determined by different scientists in different countries. Now the getting information is not a difficult thing. The bioinformatics is well developed. Therefore, the DNA of a specific chromosome can be selected. If you say the chromosome 3 contains a specific gene, you have to select only the or isolate only the third largest DNA from the given sample. DNA isolation needs following steps. Tissue from meristematic region of a plant or a fast dividing tissue such as liver or bone marrow of an animal is collected and it is homogenized in a glass mortar and pestle. In case of plant tissue, there are cell walls, there are starch granules, various proteins in the cytoplasm, in nuclear membrane, as well as histone around the chromosome. So enzymes like cellulase and protease should be used to digest cell walls and protein present in tissue so that the chromosomal DNA become free. Enzyme alpha and beta amylase and ribonuclease also may be used to digest and dissolve polysaccharide and the RNA. In animal tissue, cellulase is not needed because there is no cellulose. Only the protease and ribonuclease or hardly beta amylase is needed. After fine grinding, the homogenate is diluted in 65% hot perchloric acid. It dissolves DNA and some tissue debris also are present in solution. So by centrifugation, the tissue debris can be removed. You just need 3000 to 5000 RPM for 30 to 45 minutes to form the sediment of tissue debris. The supernatant contains DNA. It is separated in a different test tube. Now excess of ethanol is mixed in the supernatant to precipitate out DNA. It forms white insoluble fraction. Centrifuged and the sediment is air dried. It contains DNA. Here centrifugation must be at very high speed, 12,000 to 15,000 RPM for more than 1 hour. The mixture of DNA is again suspended in a small amount of hot perchloric acid and subjected to density gradient centrifugation. In the first session of biotechnology, I had discussed that in density gradient centrifugation, the solvent medium contains different layers with different densities of solute. It may contain up to 40% sucrose or up to 20% cesium chloride. For isolation of DNA, mostly the cesium chloride is preferred. DNA forms as many bands as the types of chromosomes. Smallest DNA near the surface and largest DNA near the bottom. So every fraction of DNA can be separated using a test tube, using a pipette, and collecting in different test tubes labeled well and sealed till further use. So if the chromosome 3 contained your desired gene, the third largest DNA is selected for isolation of the gene. So this fraction is taken, it is treated with 1 or 2 restriction endonuclease enzymes. In the previous session, I had discussed about restriction endonuclease. These enzymes can break DNA at a specific site with a specific arrangement of bases known as recognition sequences or the R site. Because of this function of cutting DNA, it is also known as molecular scalpel or the incisors. Such enzyme was at first recognized by Arber in 1963 in Escherichia coli that has capacity to resist attack of some bacteriophages. The system of defense was called restriction modification system, and it contains 2 enzymes, restriction endonuclease and methylase. Now as many as 350 restriction endonuclease enzymes have been isolated from different sources of bacteria. They all have a definite recognition sequence or recognition site on the DNA that have palindromic arrangement of bases along a line of axis. For example, EcoR1 selects a small segment GAA-TTC. The opposite strand also has GAA-TTC in inverse order. The site of action is in between G and A. Another enzyme, HIN-D2, the sequence is GP pyrimidine. Again, the complementary are purine AC, and the site of action is just on the axis of division, so it leaves a blunt terminal, but the formal enzyme leaves 4 unpaired bases AATT and TTAA. These are sticky ends complementary to each other. So we must select enzymes with sticky ends. It is better. After treatment of restriction enzyme, the mixture of DNA is subjected to electrophoresis, and each band of DNA fragment is isolated. In electrophoresis, the smallest fragment moves towards cathode and the largest fragment moves towards from cathode to anode, the smallest comes to anode and the largest is left near cathode. So here also they have varying molecular weight. In this photograph you can see how different samples have distribution of DNA bands. If there are so many fractions, there are so many bands. If there are only a few fractions, there are only a few bands. These bands can be cut using a scalpel or a blade, dissolve in perchloric acid in different test tubes, and in this way you can get your desired DNA fragment. Now the base sequence of every fragment is determined using a sophisticated apparatus, the automated base sequencer. After that, you can just know what would be the nature of messenger RNA formed on this fragment and which type of protein will be translated. So after the useful DNA fragment is identified, its copies are made either by gene cloning or by PCR. Gene cloning need a vector bacteria, a vector plasmid, or in PCR, polymerase chain reaction is conducted in vitro in the laboratory using the apparatus thermal cycler. Now, your gene can be isolated in this way. In the next session, I shall discuss the methods to introduce a gene into bacteria so that a cloning vector can be made. Thank you very much.